Howdy doody, everybody. I am back from, let's call it, travels abroad. Let's call it travels abroad. No. I am back from exploring the great American Midwest. I went to visit family in law, that is, and they are some great family in law. I went and met I've met him once before. Boy, my hair looks, like, was it Pebbles or Bam Bam? One of those. In any case, I was out of town and I left my fish tanks for 2 weeks. I left them for about a week unattended, and then someone else came in and fed to my very strict instructions, which were basically don't touch anything, put a little pinch of food in, and then walk away. Just walk away. So, yeah, but I feel like I haven't talked to y'all in forever, and so I wanted to hop on here, say hi. We can talk fish. We'll look at the tanks, see how they look after. It's actually been 15, 16 days since I've done anything to them, so we will see. How's it going, Rico Di Gallo, Chara Dreamer, and everyone else who's making their way into this session. I will have some videos coming out soon. Hey Vi, how's it going? What else do I have to say? Well, I'll just yakety yak a minute here while more folks roll into the video here. But basically, so my wife and I we flew into Columbus, and then we drove about an hour north of there and hung out in places Marysville, Powell, Delaware County, Dublin, Ohio. Hung out there for a week, and then we drove through Kentucky and through Columbus. Hung out in Columbus a bit, saw friends and family, my wife's family. Saw her brother and her step siblings and my father-in-law, Vietnam vet, and real nice guy. I've only met him once. Yeah, it was cool to get to meet him and everything. Other than that, we went to quite a few bodies of water. I put out one little video just about. It's kind of interesting. They have like a pond system there in Columbus, but I mean they do it a lot of places. But in Columbus, it's kind of interesting because they built these ponds just for the sheer reason of they needed to have a place for all the rainwater and everything to drain off, obviously retention ponds, but they didn't stock them with fish or anything at first, and they were just like algae, muddy, stinky, like, I mean, they'd get frogs and turtles that would show up in them, but they just, I don't know, they were kind of an eyesore and required work. So then they started putting fountains in the center, or at least aerating them, and that helped a little bit. But really, it was the introduction of plants and fish that made them stable. And my father-in-law was talking about how the neighborhood associations kind of figured that out in late 70s, early 80s, and now they actually have them open. I don't really know what the legality is of it because it's all on private property usually, like homeowner, like land trust things in neighborhoods. So the homeowners association owns like a collective piece of it, but there's these ponds for like every, I don't know, 30 or 40 houses. There's these really nice ponds or lakes all over, and that's real common out there. Oh, Alan, thank you so much, buddy. We got a $20 super chat coming in. I see that he said, it's good to see you guys in here. Goose, also nice to see you. And Alan says, UNS Fund. That is Ultim Nature Systems. I'm hoping any day now. They're supposed to have them at the store about an hour south of here, a store that I was going to buy a 65-ish, 57 to 65, I don't know. We'll see. I think it's one size up from a 90p is what I'll end up doing. It's like a 90p plus or something like that. It's whatever they had available. I've been waiting for 5 months, so I'm really excited to get that going. I haven't started a new tank in, I don't know, a year or something. So I'm really excited. Thanks for the super chat on that, Alan. I really appreciate that. So yeah, it should be fun. That's a good sized tank, and I'm open for ideas what to do with it. Honestly, on the trip, I was just really moved by the beauty of yeah, Char, right on. You got a 30-gallon free. That's free's always a good price. But yeah, I was really moved on this trip by the beauty of native fish. I mean, I always have liked sunfish, so like bluegills, bass, pumpkin seed fish, and uh, I don't know. The list goes on. There's a lot of them, but I've always kind of liked those. They're pretty, and it was cool to see the difference in coloration and things like that. And then also while I was in the Midwest, it wasn't good to film. Like I tried, I filmed for hours, guys, but it just none of the footage is like anything you guys would enjoy probably. But there's all sorts of darters and little minnow type fish that at most they're maybe like 5 inches or 6 inches long, but they have different markings every single creek, river, everything. I really thought that was cool out there in the Midwest. They really have their own distinct patterns, and so um, I'm not gonna waste a rimless, low iron ADA style tank on native fish just because I feel like I want to grow a lot more plants in a tank like that. Like that's kind of for me like escape. Like I want to aquascape it, and I'm leaning towards doing a scene that's like kind of well, not that far off from something like this. This is getting a little overcrowded in here with plants and all. But I'm thinking about doing the same kind of look, like that overtaken like cathedral of green. And I'm thinking about even getting some wood and doing like a forest scene with the wood getting smaller towards the back and a slope, and then doing a broken arch so it looks like the stones once connected and now they're not quite connected. Thinking I'm going to do that with and have it look like it's in the forest. The other thing that I've thought about, but I feel like it's again a waste of such a nice tank, is I was thinking about doing a really sparse tank and doing more of an Iwagumi style tank and doing just a ton of like Phoenix Rasboras and maybe Tinwini Danios and something like that. But I think, don't hold me to this, I think I want to do a biotope of some sort. So, like, keep everything in the tank from Southeast Asia or from Africa or wherever. And it's probably, there's a good chance that, I wanted to keep it a nano tank and have some nice schooling effects going on in it. But there's also a good chance that, I'm going to make it like my angelfish tank. So probably Venezuela and Brazil is kind of what I'm leaning towards as far as that. Now, in this video today, I'm going to go around and show you what my tanks look like. If you guys remember May, I left a friend in charge of my tanks. Love him to death, Shirtless Ben. But everything exploded with algae and I guess fish that were super fat. I instructed him on what to feed, but I think he was hanging out and just watching the fish. And pot's legal in the Pacific Northwest. Not that that stops or starts anyone in the first place, but I think that may have played a role in how many times he fed each tank. So this time, no algae. The person who I asked to come by, great gal, she's a nurse. She knows how to follow instructions to a T. To a, what's better than a T? An S? I don't know. A Q? Any case. So, I'll take you around. There's one tank that's cloudy. I don't know if it's a bacterial bloom or if it's just silt kicked up and I need to just clean the filter, which I do need to clean the filter. So let's start doing that. I'll keep chatting. If you guys have any questions, you want help with whatever, let me know. So let me finish telling you about the trip real quick and then we'll jump into checking out the tanks. Maple Street Aquatics, how is it going? How are you doing? let me tell you, Nashville. I've driven through that city, but I never stayed in that city. One hell of a city. I don't drink, but I must confess, um, I did have a Mike's Hard Lemonade. It was 101 degrees, and it was like 50% humidity or something. And my father-in-law and brother-in-law and all the family was kind of around, and I'm not a I was at one point, I wouldn't say an alcoholic, but I drank too much, and then I didn't drink at all for the last 10 or 11 years. So on this trip, it was one of those rare special occasions where I decided to have a drink. In any case, I don't judge any of you. Drink whatever you like, just don't let it ruin your life. Same with everything, okay? Uh, and of course, you should be getting this advice from a fish channel. JH, what is going on? Speaking of sober minded, brilliant fish topics, how is it going, my friend? Love the coverage and the excitement on Aquashella. Um, Aquashella or bust. I know I told y'all I was going to Aquashella. Turns out, well, I just got back from 15 days traveling the Midwest. So we went also looking for crayfish in Appalachia, in a few national parks, which was really cool. Didn't find the species I was. Chara, do you remember what other channel to get sobriety advice from than a fish channel? That's right. DS, hey, how's it going? How are you doing? It's good to be back in town. I thought Nashville, I thought Tennessee in general was a beautiful state. It was really hot and really dry for this time of year. 100 every day, 95 to 104 or something every day. On the blacktop, 120 or something in the parking lots. And then there's just the humidity. What light am I planning for my UNS setup? I don't know. So thank you so much for the super chat, because I'm torn. So you just don't need to look at my mug. But let's start looking at tanks. I'll keep chatting, finish off what I was going to say about the trip. And hold on, let me have a sip. Since getting back to Seattle, it's actually really nice weather today, but last night was miserable. So our plane flight was delayed, and then delayed, and then delayed, and then they're like, we're going to make up a bunch of time in the air because magic. And that didn't really happen. So we ended up getting back in town at like midnight when we were used to East Coast time zone. It was weird because we were staying like in Tennessee, right on the line of where you go back and forth. So our Airbnb that we stayed at, which was an hour or so, hour and 15 outside of Nashville, south of there, southeast of there, actually was in an hour different time zone than my sister-in-law. So we drove from central Ohio down through to check, and then we hung out in Columbus for a few days, and then we went down to Cincinnati and down through what was it? Cincinnati, Louisville. Went through Louisville, Kentucky, and beautiful country there. And then we went down into we just took our time going, took a road trip, rented a car, and then we went down to Tennessee, and we ended up in a little town in Hickman County, which I don't know. This isn't fish related, but you guys are friends. You guys are curious what I'm up to. I know a lot of you personally now. I feel like we got a relationship. So I figure I'll share a little bit of what happened on the trip too, which is cool. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you'll see it. I'm not going to post any videos of it, but So it turns out that Johnny Cash had an estate there in Hickman County. He has a song called "Saturday Night in Hickman County." Not a big hit, but surprise! Nothing happens in Hickman County on a Saturday night. It's a county with like 8,000 people, and it's like the size of Rhode Island. Um, but they do have a giant Dr. Pepper sign that I took a picture with. But what was cool was I got to meet Johnny Cash's daughter, Cindy Cash, and then I got to his son, his brother, Tommy Cash was there, and also his nephew, um, what is his name? Alan Cash, Mark Allen Cash was there, and they all played music for us, which was really cool. Mark Allen Cash, he's about 55 years old. He actually is a caretaker of their old farm property there that some billionaire guy bought. And they've preserved the secret farm that Johnny Cash hung out at when he wasn't in Hollywood or in Jamaica. He had a house in Jamaica too. So there's this beautiful 500-acre farm that has freshwater springs, mineral springs. I thought they were going to be hot springs, but they're mineral springs. The only fish that I saw in there were bluegills and sticklebacks. No idea how the sticklebacks got all the way down to Tennessee, but they're wily little critters. And also Ginger. I got to see Ginger. So Ginger Graves, how you doing? How you doing? So I got to meet her in Nashville on my way out of town. Did some artwork for her that I'll probably, well, I mean, she can share it in the Facebook group if she feels so inclined, or maybe I can. But basically, Ginger and I met up. I painted, or I with a brush, I did sumi ink, and yeah, they got there with the Pagic of Mao, the Pagic of Mao. No, they got there with the power of magic. Yeah, so it looks like Tennessee. It was hot, but Ginger came out. She met me at the farmers market there, and I was kind of on my wife's timetable, really. So I had a lot of fun when I could get away. Checked out some Civil War battlefields. I didn't get to go to any aquariums really. Actually, okay, I lied. I've got one video that you guys will see. I went to the Columbus Zoo, and they have a great manatee exhibit. They also have a really nice saltwater tank with sharks and stuff, but I'll have to voice over it. Random kind of question. Would it be possible for fish to travel via aquifers? That is a really interesting question. I will research into that. I know for a fact that there are some fish like the blind cave fish. I know there's some critters like the axolotl that actually do travel in caves and underground systems. Now, fish that move through these caves, they're usually like, I've seen it in both Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, and then also in the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. You can see where there's underwater aquifers, but the ground has the bedrock has fallen, and so you can see down into it. And then all these places that are near the equator, they get these crazy flash floods, and so it washes all the animals. I mean, and trees and logs and pollution and both good and bad bugs for things to eat. But there's definitely some pup fish like the devil's hole pup fish that lives in Death Valley. That's like, how in the heck did this fish get here, kind of thing. And then there's also gobies and things like that in Australia that live, and Papua New Guinea, that live in, it's usually limestone areas. So I saw in Florida too. I saw in the limestone springs and creeks and things like that, creeks, that they had fish swimming in them. So I would imagine that they do move in underground rivers, but an aquifer tends to be deeper usually, and oftentimes is pressurized or contained and only coming through through seepage. Like certain ones like the Ogallala Aquifer, there's not going to be any fish in there, but it's going to be that's deeper under the top layer of the bedrock, and it's like a hollowed out ginormous thing. But definitely at the entrances and exits, there's life. But it's a good question. I'm going to look into it more. But I do know that some of the most interesting specialized fish, like some of the blind cave tetras and things like that, some of the live bears and things like that, definitely live in caves and entrances to caves that go to underground aquifers or Cartesian wells, things like that. Um, so while I was down in, let me just turn this around here. That didn't turn around at all. So it's nice here in Seattle. I'm surprised. I was told. So when I got on the plane, I think finally around 10 p.m. It was still 90 degrees out. Maybe no, that's not quite true. Probably 85 degrees out. You guys are getting your look at the tank. So what happened is I got on the plane, got uh, delayed, got off a plane, sat in the airport, and then we ended up sitting around waiting for a pilot because the pilot left on another plane because uh, I don't know why. They didn't tell us. But that delayed things quite a bit. And so then we got home, I think around 1 a.m. 2 nights ago. The next morning at 10:30, we had a doctor's appointment, my wife and I. We have been going to see a fertility doctor just to kind of make sure, since I got struck by lightning a year and a half ago, and it did damage to my lower spine. They want to make sure that all of, not to get too personal, but that the bits and pieces of my body work. Yeah, check out all these shrimp. Looks like the shrimp did okay. I just put food in right before the live stream. So in here we've got a mix. The blue ones are from Lucas Brett's. The other ones are all from Aquatic Arts. We've got Malawa shrimp in here, if you didn't know from before. And then we've got the Gold Nebula. The Gold Nebula have that nice ribbing on them. It looks like gold specks, whereas the Malawa or Malwa have like teeny little dots that are iridescents, and then they turn pink, blue, like different hues within that range of kind of translucent, kind of like a neocaridina. And then let's see here. 5 days I will be in Indiana to tour Lucas Brett's house. Oh, I'm so jealous. Joseph, I was actually talking to Lucas and I was gonna go tour his house. So originally, all right, candid time. Originally, my plan for Aquashella was to go to Aquashella and beforehand or after do this trip that I just did that was 2 weeks, seeing all this family that my wife hasn't seen in years. Um, I've never met two of her siblings, and I've only met her father once, my wife's. And so it was a chance to kind of bond, stay with them, do that. And it really unplugged me from YouTube, honestly. So I apologize that I have a life. Just kidding. I don't apologize. Screw you guys. Just kidding. No, I really appreciate that folks were still watching videos and stuff. I think I only loaded one or two the whole time I was gone. But we were really going nonstop, meeting every great uncle and great aunt and seeing every site in these weird counties that there's not a lot of sites to see. There are a lot of people drinking in honky tonks, and there was a lot of good music. So that was cool. Um, but yeah, so um, what? Oh yeah, so Aquashella I was gonna go to, and I was waiting to hear because I was gonna be part of the aquascaping or not, I don't know, contest, display, whatever. And it turns out that like I just didn't hear back, and then it turns out that one of the coordinators was no longer one of the coordinators that I'd spoken to, and then things got kind of wishy-washy, and so I kind of got worried about that. And then money-wise, finished up almost all my dental stuff, but now I have to get my spine surgery coming up, and at least that's what they're thinking. But missing some teeth, they had to pull uh, from all the way back from the lightning thing. I just finished everything up money wise. That kind of wiped out all my savings as well as this trip to go meet her family and everything. So I'm kind of replenishing from that, and I kind of thought that I had tickets waiting, but then like I was told, wait, those tickets aren't good. We're gonna send you some new ones, and then that person never got a hold of me again. So I just some miscommunication, but it made it so I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to fly to Chicago when I'm kind of tight on money and time and whatever. Um, I really do want to go. There's still a possibility I might. Also, uh, same with aquatic experience. I've been wanting to go to the aquatic experience for a long time. Aquashell is a newer event. It seems really cool, but I kind of wanted to make sure that I had some BFFs. I mean, Joseph, I'm sure you and I could chat together and all that, and there would be lots of folks there. And I do know people like Joel and Corey and other folks from the Seattle area as well, but nowhere on par with their YouTube level or their business investment into the event, I guess. So, and I also know Rob from Flip Aquatics. And he was who I was talking with, and he's just such a busy guy. He's been a really sweet, charitable, generous guy to me, but he's just been busy, and so it's been a little hard to make plans. But we'll see. I may still make it out there. I do have a free, like we just earned a free flight, so I may try to make it out to Chicago yet. I don't know. But I do have the UNS tank coming in. Hopefully, fingers crossed. They kept saying that for months, but hopefully get the tank in. And if I have to miss Aquashella, I'm sure Joseph will stream it for me, as well as Lucas and other folks. Not the same as being there, but it would be a challenge to bring anything home from there and so forth. Anyhow, so I'm not gonna if I go, I wouldn't be spending like that much money on anything other than flight and hotel or whatever. So I don't know. It's a possibility, but it might not happen. The funds for that I'm gonna put that I had been kind of saving. I had to dip into. I replenished them with YouTube and super chats. So thank you guys. I appreciate that. But also. If I get if I get a 50 plus gallon rimless like the plan is, we'll see what they actually get in. They ordered a bunch of 90Ps supposedly, and they were told that they're not going to get all their 90Ps. They should get some on a truckload this week at this place south of here, and hopefully I get one. If not, they said they'll also be getting a unique size from UNS that's like, yeah, a 65 gallon or something like that, but it's rimless, low iron. Either way, whatever they have, if they have the larger one, I'll get that. And that could keep my hands busy getting that cycled and scaping it and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. But I hope you guys have an incredible time, those of you who are going. All right, so let's flip back around. That was all I had to say about that. How did this tank fare for 2 weeks? I don't know, guys. I think it did pretty good, don't you? I left a detailed instruction plan, and I actually had little measuring devices left out, and of all my tanks laid out, which day to come visit the week she did, and then they were fine for a week on their own, but half of one of these algae wafers every 3 days, or two in a certain tank. And then I sketched out the tank. No water changes were done. It's been, I did them all the day before I left. So all the water, you're going to see how low it is. This is all due to evaporation. Now, one of the timers didn't work on the lights. This tank has been out of CO2 for over a month now. And so any of the colors you're seeing out, oh, and no fertilizers have been used also. Oh, and I forgot to mention Aquatic Arts, of course, they're an awesome supporter of the channel. And this is the giant dwarf shrimp, which I know is a misnomer. It's a silly thing to say, giant dwarf. But this is a, okay, here comes the second weird part. The short nose, long nose Japanese algae eating shrimp, but it's just known as the short nose algae eating shrimp. These guys have held up really well. It looks like everyone's alive and well in this tank. We've got the koi Endler guppy hybrids. I see my gold ring Danios doing just fine. Lots of babies that have grown really fast, and it must just be eating like planaria or whatever the heck, maybe baby shrimp. And then we've got the Neocaridina from Lucas Brett's, the Blue Dreams that I raise in here. And then just, I mean, can you guys see this? This is literally probably now, I think this tank, this 17-gallon tank, believe it or not, is pushing 200 shrimp. And so, and you see all the pregnant ones, right? There's a bunch. And saddles too. So I'm definitely have people in town now that want some, and I'm gonna have to give away quite a few, or sell quite a few, I should say. Also, I saw the leopard frog pleco hanging out. He was actually hanging out on the glass like he never usually does. I just noticed, Cracky. I don't know if he's still alive. We'll find out. I'll plop him right in. We'll just put him right in front. And then, yeah, so the nearite snails made a run for it. I don't know what their deal is, but this water is foggy. My best guess is you guys probably saw the time lapse video. It's kind of boring, but you probably saw it. After I trimmed everything, there's so much silt that was kicked up in those days that this filter needs to be changed again. So I'm hoping that just the polishing ability of that was impacted, and that's the only thing that's going on. The plants do look a bit haggard. I definitely did hack back a ton of them, but we'll see how the rebound goes. Hopefully Cracky's okay. That's his 29th escape out of the tank, if I recall correctly. And then, like I said, I've got tons of these little Endler babies that have appeared. Just trimming actually really helped, and getting rid of a lot of the stuff in the tank really helped that. Now, this substrate, if you were asking, is it's eco-complete, but mostly Amazonia, Fluval, or not Fluval, ADA Amazonia Light. I know they're changing the names to like Light and Amazonia 2, and then, but you can see it's stratified. I pulled out most of the dust that I could, and you can see there's a new layer settling right on the glass. So I'll probably take a credit card type thing, just a piece of plastic. Look how big, sorry about that glare. Look how big the short nose shrimp are compared to the others. They're the biggest of the dwarf shrimp families. And you can see when they eat, they get their belly full, and that red there is its belly. But yeah, so in any case, this is not actual soil in here. It's all the aqua soil. Pandagara looks happy, healthy. The blue shrimp, it looks like there's less of them. I don't know. Maybe it's in my head. Maybe they're still hiding. I mean, there's shrimp hiding all over. I saw my CPDs, they're still in here. The lovely Phoenix rasboras, they're not as colorful as they were when I left, but I'm sure once I fire up live baby brine, that's what they're used to, that they'll come back around with color and all that jazz, do a water change. Over here, let's see what we got going on. A lot of evaporation again. I don't put lids on my tank. I love the sound of the water. I love being able to look down into the tank. I don't know. It's just a personal thing. This tank had no light for 2 weeks apparently, and the person taking care of the house didn't think that was strange, even though every other tank has lights. But the lilies still doing well. Some are getting older. Like this, I can go ahead and pull out. We actually our potted plants now have a bunch of just fish water and dead fish and stuff like that in them, and they've been growing better than ever. Another little dwarf lilies sprouted. All the corkscrew valve that I got from Lucas Brett's is growing really well. The cribs, the babies are now cruising around on their own. Some baby Corridoras are doing well. And Sergio is doing great. He looks happy and healthy and colorful. He's actually got more blue. I don't know, maybe the dark was good for him, like opposite of suntan or something. And then we've also got the platinum rainbow snakes, or platinum rainbow galaxy guppy from Thailand that I picked up 2 days before I left town. Looks like he's doing fine. Maybe somebody chewed on his fin a little bit, but other than that, he should be fine. Yeah. What up? The Element 186, Tim Hopkins, not Nola Jane, Fish Rich. How's it going? Other than that, I'm looking for sickness. This is really the first time, so I didn't finish my story because I just talk too much and I never get anywhere. Right? You guys know that. So I went from landing in Seattle to the fertility clinic with the wife, and then we went to had to go pay bills, run a couple errands, and then it was terrible weather. It was just raining, buckets of rain. Apparently, I was out of town for the biggest lightning and thunderstorm that has ever occurred in Seattle's recorded history. I got a billion texts. I was out of text or cell service in the backwoods of Tennessee at the time, which suited me just fine. It was kind of nice to unplug and just sit by the creek. And I did film though, like I said. Looks like we got one crib that's still colored up for mating, or two, a pair, I should say. Luis Sanchez, hello, how's it going? Welcome, come on in. So yeah, it looks like looks like fish are doing well in here. So we go from there. We get home. We ran errands. We had to go get the keys back, and just kind of undo our backpacks and so forth, or our luggage. But then, so we had a grand total of 1 hour of free time before my wife. So it was our anniversary on. It was our anniversary last night, our wedding anniversary. And so we decided last year, literally, it's been a year, to go see Elton John. So Elton John came to town and put on a rockin' show. My wife was afraid of traffic, which was correct. It took us 2.5 hours to get 30 miles. And she was worried about that. She should have been. I was not, and I should have been. Looks like we have one sick fish. I can't tell right now. I really hope it's not Colmenares or something like that. Hold on, let's get it. Let's get it. Come on. Oh man, there's a cross beam that just messed up my juju. It looks like a lot of the Bucephalandra and stuff like that has come up. Also, it looks like my Anubias are burnt, which is interesting. That also could be. That's really odd. Look at that. It's the whole half of the plant, or of the leaf there. That may be maybe my phosphates, something's going on with that. The other thing that happened before I left that angered me to no end is the city did a flush of our water. So they let me take a step back. They take our water from a central location up in the mountains, and they have a reservoir that fills. Well, the reservoir is out now, and so we usually have a TDS of 28. Well, the day before I left, the TDS was 212 or something like that, and I just water changed the whole freaking lot of the tanks. So I was really stressed on what the heck that was gonna do. Um, to my tanks. The only tank I didn't do that to was my big shrimp tank downstairs. I'll show you guys that too. Want to get, oh man, I was so close. Come on, just stay chill. No, not going to be chill. This fish back here, you can see though, it looks like it could have colmenaris. It could be ick or some sort of just like slime coat issue, but she does not look healthy. Let's get a close-up of her. I don't want it to spread to the other fish, so I'm just gonna set her aside right now, and I'll come back and deal with her after the live stream. But I'm gonna have to keep an eye on all these guppies and endlers now. I have had them have slime coat issues before, and it kind of looks like colmenaris, where you get that white mottled look on the fish, and everyone else is fine. If it is colmenaris, there's not a lot of good solutions, really. I mean, you can treat it, but it's pretty brutal. So, knock on wood that it's not. Other than that, my blue Moscow / wild Endler K-type mix now looks really cool. The glare's bad here, so we'll move on in a moment. But yeah, and then the platinum rainbow galaxy guppy looking really nice. And he's allowed to mate with whoever he wants. So we'll see what happens. Looks like no new babies in here in that capacity. But also the leopard frog plecos and my L333 doing well in here. You can see this is that corkscrew valve. If you ever go to Lucas Brett's website or, you know, whatever, his, if you buy something from LRB Aquatics, this is his valve, his red corkscrew valve, and it's like a metallic red as it dies. The guppy was free to me, Aaron, but I got him, and then I got a female, and then the next morning I got like 8 babies. Free to me, but it was $120 as a new strain for a trio that my friend ordered from Thailand with shipping and everything. So I think they were like $60 for, so like $20 a fish. Cribs doing well. Tank over full. Need to sell some cribs. That's the end of the story here. Yeah, other than that, looks like all the Bucephalandra did great with the lights off. A lot of things came unanchored. I blame the plecos. And looks like the white Anubias doing okay. Variegated Anubias. Brownie Ghost doing fine. Ah! Almost let go of the sick fish. I'm going to have to clean that net. But, yeah, so don't buy these timers. These ones suck. Where'd they go? This thing. Don't buy these. Does it have a name? Prime. It's just from Amazon. Thing didn't work. Half the time the thing they just don't work. I don't know. I have like 5 of them, and half the time they don't work. I don't understand it. Tim. So let's go on downstairs, check out what's going on. I'm gonna take a quick peek at how hot everything's run. 76, that's fine. I like to keep that tank around 80 usually, but I mean, I'm not gonna complain today. This tank I like to keep cooler. It's at 78. I don't know, go figure. I really love this Nymphea minutia, I think it's called. It looks like Nymphea micrantha almost, a little less metallic and shiny, and not psychoactive lotuses, but it has these nice teeny, this is as big as they get, silver dollar, or maybe a little bit bigger, lily pads. So you can keep them even smaller than that if you anchor it right and don't have ferts going or highlight. The other lily, the green and red tiger lily, and then the Logonandra meboldii pink, doing fine, healthy, but they're just not up to snuff for color. And then this, one of my favorite plants, the Kabamba furcata, looks like it's doing fine. I'll have to cut that and then replant, but this is the same plant here. So much cooler than Kabamba americanus or caroliniatus. Looks like all the Christmas moss back there is doing fine. This tank is in need of a new rescape, and this is probably where the new large tank that I'm getting will go. Since this is only a 17.5 gallons, the new tank should take up from the plant to the wall kind of and be deeper in every way. So let's hop downstairs and see the damage to the fish room. Pardon the mess. As I said, we got home, anniversary. We're home for an hour. There's literally our stuff in front of the laundry room / bathroom downstairs. If I lose you guys, it's reception in here, and I'll try to restart the stream again. But basically, for our honeymoon, as I said, went to Elton John. Then today I had another doctor's appointment. I got home at 1 a.m. because it was in Tacoma rather than Seattle. And this is my first peek. This is my first feeding of these fish and everything. So you're going to see what I see as I kind of survey what in the heck happened in 16 days of chaos and neglect. Neglect. No. This tank, look at this. The top shelf tank has evaporated. It wasn't all the way full, but it was full to here. So it was hot while I was gone at some point, very obviously. It looks as though the shrimp, this is a bare bottom tank also, by the way. Looks as though my Bibaltis are doing great. They look good. We've got buried females. I want to do a water change and all that jazz, but sometimes when you've got buried females like this, my Sakura yellow, the gold lines, those are from Lucas Brett's also. Sometimes when that happens, I don't want to do the water change because it's so easy to throw off their little, equilibriums. This is interesting. The hornwort here has turned a beautiful pink. I know it probably doesn't look that good on film or on YouTube. Apparently hornwort or bladderwort has gone bananas in this tank. Look at that. So I'll have to remove all that. I mean, I'm not that concerned in this shrimp tank. It's a shrimp tank. So, and only shrimp, So, and then there's moss. None of the plants are doing well in here. There's no substrate. There's no ferts. It's about the shrimp. But yeah. Moving down. Whoa, what in the heck? I have a jungle val. And for reasons of cross-contamination, let me grab a different little magic wand. GT Aquatics, how's it going? Missed you as well. Let's see here. Welcome to everybody who's joining us now. In here, let's see. First of all, I see some shrimp. So we do have the gold nebula shrimp back here. We do have algae going on here too. Looks like we have the Malawa shrimp also. So, man, golden nebula shrimp and Malawa shrimp, which are Caridina paradensis, are bulletproof, man. You can, I don't know, mash them, bash them, put them in a stew, and they keep on kicking. Here's a Malawa. It's a big Malawa, actually. Really big, really healthy. Must have just molted. I can see its tail really clearly. She has those googly eyes. Hungry eyes. Also, the Maytangensis danios, doing great. They look fine. Nobody has ick that I see. Looks like my minnows that I brought in just because I was worried it was going to get cold at night. They're fine. Look at this. Algae has taken over this rock for sure. It looks like a freaking Muppet. but that's fine. I don't care. It's also taken over the filter over here too. But this Val, this is what surprised me. This Val has gone nuts, and I have down here also. Here is my a couple, anyways, of my bumblebee, true bumblebee gobies, and I got those from Aquatic Arts. Also, if you want any of the stuff you see fish wise, a lot of these are at Aquatic Arts and you can get a discount. The information is in the description below. And as Ginger did, you can also ask me to do some steampunk illustrations of your fish or shrimp or foot or whatever the heck you want. I don't know. I'm not picky. Um, so that was a cool opportunity. Thank you for allowing me to use my, I guess, gift from the powers that be in the universe. Oh, there's even baby shrimp surviving in here. Looks like my Pink Panther Crypt and Crypt Nuri doing well. My Saffron Bacopa doing, Bacopa doing fine. Hornwort, you can't kill it. Why would I expect it? And then Kabamba Furcata doing okay. That's a difference. This is a no ferts, super low tech tank. There's not even root tabs in here. This is just a well cycled thing. Then down here, when I left, I literally got rid of every freaking piece of duckweed that I could see. And of course, it's back with a vengeance. So here are more of Lucas Brett's line of endlers. Originally, someone else had them, and then I got a hold of them, and I bred blue into them, and I bred them with spade tails. Now I'm trying to get some flauncy tails out of them. I don't know what I'm doing. It's crazy. I'm a madman across the water, I guess. Looks like I'm going to need to do some gravelback stat. This was the tank that had that bizarre algae and bacteria bloom. And this is how I cleaned it up. Looks like this is hornwort, bladderwort yet again. Which is actually it's like a Venus flytrap. It eats little teeny organisms. So it means when that happens, like up in the shrimp tank, it means you've got like either planaria or daphnia or some sort of little not microbe, but small critter that the plant can eat. So yeah. Also, it looks like a lot of the val in this tank got unrooted. I know who did that. Where are you? It's my oldest pleco that I have. Where is she? I don't know. I saw her though earlier, so I'm sure she's somewhere around here. Looks like they dug up everything. Same with my Corydoras in here. They ripped up everything, but nobody looks sick in here. That's good. The other thing, I had 2 crayfish in here. I have yet to see them. The CPOs, the little teeny ones, the dwarfs. I can't say dwarf in the title because it is hate speech according to YouTube. But I'm not gonna call them little people crayfish. I mean, that's what. They're probably in there. I'll have to give them some like cat food or tuna or something, and they'll come running. Quarantine tank doing fine. There are just some, and now this little wand is done for. Do you have a special feeding schedule when it comes to my fry? Yeah, I like to hatch Daphnia or baby brine shrimp, and then I like to feed them in the morning and at night, a little dose of that. And then I like to use the fry food from Aquarium Co-op. It's like a powder, almost a dust. And yeah, that's kind of I try to do it 5 times a day if I'm home, 3 if not, right when I wake up, then again later. It looks like my panda loaches, other than the water stains, which is interesting, I don't know where that came from, Looks like they're doing pretty well. Oh no, we have a soldier down. Looks like one may have jumped, which is quite the. They can actually crawl. I mean, they crawl up waterfalls in the wild. Um, so that may have happened. Looks like the Neocaridina shrimp. I'm wondering if they've taken a beating because of these guys being extra hungry. I don't know. But they're doing well. They've been a specimen that I've been trying to breed for a while. And I want to. I even thought about setting up the newer tank as a hill stream tank just for them. The big one. Looks like my uh, forgetting Caridina crystals. Looks like they're fine. They're just hiding. I know the glare is bad. Sorry, guys. We'll move on in a sec. Just kind of looking to see, making sure that my blues are all present and accounted for. Yeah, it's so weird. Everything is dug up there, whereas this tank has just exploded. All right, so this is the biggest crazy mess ever. Check this out. There was not a single piece of duckweed uh, in here. Fish Rich, Nola, not Nola Jane. Uh, you said I may have a leak in the top shelf up here tank. It's not that. It's just that this room gets really hot. It gets like 85 degrees. And so it being high up in the room, it evaporates the water out that much quicker. This kind of looks cool. I'm kind of digging on it. And uh, yeah, we've got the red root floaters, and it looks like, are we going to get flowers from them? I don't see any blooms yet. Duckweed is truly evil. It is worse than the herpes of the fish world. I can see my needle fish, and my I should say half beak. Look at this, more of this dang bladderwort. Where did that come from? Come on. So I don't know when I picked that up, but I did apparently. I'm sorry if we've exchanged tank. Oh, here they come. Here's my half beaks. So they're doing good. Other than that, this tank is just a crazy overgrown mishmash tank. This is the female. Sorry about that glare, guys. Wow. This is the female of the rainbow galaxy guppy. And then we've got some Kythit Daniels. Also, we've got plecos in here. We've got, man, it's too dark to even film this. It's like probably just maddening to you guys. But yeah, so we've got a pleco grow out. Uh, and then also we've got all the orange-eyed lemon tetras. Is something going on with them? No, okay, it's just the light. And then all my, again, very hard to see. I apologize, guys. We'll just skip over this. But long story short, this is going to be a project tomorrow. And then I had one critter in here that I think is still fine. I see him. These were the mystery spawns, and they ended up being Honduran red points. That's what they were. But yeah, so this all needs to be trimmed. Kyatha Daniel, man, I've never seen one get that big. It's like this big now. Also, there's erythromicrons and rare Daniel species in here. It's dense enough in this situation that it's not pretty. It's not necessarily what I would call pretty to look at. But when it gets this dense in a tank, especially with like this mini pearl and butterfly, rotala and stuff like that, you can really get some cool colony breeding going on. I know it's not pretty, but in the wild, I mean, ask Joseph, ask Corey, ask anybody, ask Amazon rainforest Bob, what it's like. Just go to a beach or a lake and you'll see that there's a lot of mulm stuff on the bottom. There's a lot of algae. There's a lot of just stuff around. And as long as it's not the toxic variety of algae and so forth, it's okay. So, all in all, I'm pretty impressed with 16 days away with no care, other than friend came by 3 times. So, uh, that that's how things are looking. Feels a little overwhelming to get all that back dialed in. Where I feel always say, guys, don't go crazy to get things back to normal. Just chill and do like a 10% water change or top it off if you can. I'll probably buy distilled for the shrimp and top it off and just top it off, check the conditions, trim back, whatever. I'm going to take that duckweed out. That being said, that could cause. I have duckweed on my eye. That is how invasive this stuff is. My eye is wet, and as eyes should be, and now it is trying to colonize my eye. Thanks, duckweed. It sounds like an insult, doesn't it? Great job, duckweed. Suck a duckweed. So yeah, other than that, I mean that this is kind of a frou-frou. Hey guys, I'm back in town. How are you doing? Kind of episode. Other than that, health is doing all right. Duckweed trick. Uh, if you have it and you don't want it, which is everyone except for the person who buys a bag for the first time, uh, just overflow your tank and take like, like if you have it, well, if you can tilt it a little bit, you can kind of get it to spill its edge, or you can just take like a shallow like Pyrex dish, or even even like this would work, and you just barely submerge it, and the duckweed will get sucked in, and then you just take your hand, or I guess a net if you want, and pour some of the water out. Do it again, and you can actually get most of the bulk of the duckweed gone quickly. It's just you'll get fry and other things in there if you're not careful, depending on what species you have. So yeah, in the comments, please let me know what you would like to see me do with the new big tank that's upcoming. If there's any subjects you guys would like to talk about, I have lots of ideas on videos I want to work on. I have some film, like I said, from I went to the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium. Phenomenal zoo. I don't like zoos really usually. I like the idea that they promote conservation and those things, but I don't necessarily like that ink stain. That's what happens when you travel with art supplies. Thanks, Ginger. I'm just kidding. I completed your art before I got to you. Clearly, but yeah, yeah. Pearlweed over duckweed any day. Water cabbage, water lettuce, whatever you want to call it. Frog bit, anything but duckweed. I never bought duckweed, didn't want it. I worked so hard not to get it. Now it's pretty much in all my tanks. If you get enough flow on and surface agitation, that will stop some of it. Another note is I noticed I checked the night when we got home at like 1 in the morning or whatever. I used my light on the phone to see my little ponds outside, which are just Tupperware containers. And all of my Neocaridina shrimp that had been in there look like they're alive, even though the temperature at night's gotten down to like 55. And there's been thunderstorms. Today it's like 70 and sunny, go figure. It started out raining and hailing this morning when I was on my way to the doctor. But yeah, you were asking about which fry food or fish food I like to use. I like this stuff. I'm sure, whoa, the tripod's deciding to leave me now. If you leave me now, you take away the fried food. Ooh, please don't sing. But yeah, this stuff, I like it. I like it a lot. And need to start scraping algae, cleaning things, so forth and so on. Drop me a comment on what you'd like to see. Drop me a comment on all that. Let's see here. I keep frog bit for my floating plants. It's nice because it covers my 6 foot tank in about 3 months, and I can sell it for $50. Nice. Uh, that works. I mean, that works great. I like red root floater personally a lot. It needs highlight and it needs a little bit of iron and a little bit of low, it needs pretty low nitrates, so it's a little finicky, but I like it. Um, Somebody asked me, do fish sleep? Do you? Okay. Yeah, so lots of stuff I saw in Nashville at the Columbus Zoo. Don't like the idea of zoos just because I feel bad for the animals sometimes, but at the same time, I do like the conservation work. I do like that people get to see the animals, fall in love with the animals. Little kids are like, yay! That's cool. And it is in a selfish way. I freaking love zoos. I love animals. I love looking at them. And the Columbus Zoo has a lot of space because they had a bunch of cornfields to develop, and they did it the right way. That's what I can say about them. Uh, Other than that, you guys, thank you so much for rocking with me this video. I hope you guys are doing well. Um, I'll be back soon. Should hopefully be back on track with the like Wednesday, Sunday video thing. We'll do a fish news segment, and then one time a week. Then we'll probably do a question answer kind of thing, and all that. And I'll keep you posted, obviously, with anything I update. Probably do an update video or live stream just when I kind of get tanks back rearranged. We got a lot of stuff going on in our private lives. Unfortunately, we also have two funerals in the next week, and one of the funerals is, you know, I'm not going to name names or anything, obviously, but a close friend, and I was his sponsor per se. He went to rehab, got clean, has a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old son, and got out 71 days clean, and he died. So rest in peace, buddy. But the funeral is on Saturday, and then next week we got another one, less close there. But because of that, his wife, his widow, we want to, you know, make some meals for her for the week, and she's got fish tanks actually that I set her up with and him up with as a way to help him stay clean. He was getting really into them, and I was helping, but I don't know. It just takes one relapse, and that's all it took for my buddy. So be safe. Love one another. Take care of your critters. They'll take care of you. And I will talk to you all soon. Any questions or comments, drop them in the uh, the thing below the comment section. If you have a comment, just comment. It's redundant. Other than that, I'm working on, like, I don't know, 5 hours of sleep. So I may take a nap and then get to the fish tanks. Gotta do some laundry and cleaning for wifey. But I'm fading, especially after that Elton John concert last night. He did a good show, and this is his last tour, so that was pretty cool. Do we have any last business? Oh, yeah, I do. Alan, thank you, brother. The $20 super chat, that's great. We have some new Patreon members. That is super helpful, so thank you guys. All you guys sharing videos and things like that when I'm actually making something rather than being a lazy bum like I was traveling. I was trying to find a purple crayfish and trying to find a white crayfish variety that lives in West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee kind of area. It's been spotted several spots around there. It lives very far inland and up on the hills, which is unusual. And I did not find it. I did find other species and stuff like that. Yeah, Allie Greenwell, go ahead and ask a question. That's what I'm here for. Um, Sorry, guys, I'm itchy. I think, no joke, I think I'm also allergic to duckweed. So I should probably wash my face. But if that stuff didn't suck bad enough already. Really? Now I'm going to be allergic to it. The other thing I want to rant about is that YouTube demonetized and flagged as not appropriate my video on mental health and addiction and anxiety and depression. And I just think there's nothing graphic. It's just like if you need help, get help kind of a video. So, and what the hobby's done for me, what it does for others. So I don't know. I was a little bummed to see that YouTube took that stance. All right. Do you have any tips for moving with aquariums? We are moving. Should I drain it and dismantle it? Oh yeah. All right. So, uh, what I would recommend if it's a 40-gallon or less, I would recommend draining it like 90%. If you have fragile fish, angelfish, or discus, or anything like that, put them into a bucket. Get a battery powered, battery operated aerator. I think my video, all the video, like not the last one or the one before that, but there's one about storms, about the hurricanes impact, and I've got links to power outage stuff, all sorts of products that I use, like brands that I've actually tried and used. And I use them when I'm collecting out in the wild. And oh, I forgot what I was going to say earlier, but I'm thinking if I can move my angels, uh, I may make this tank, this big one, into a cold water native tank. I don't know. Crazy ideas. Ah! So, but yeah, I would recommend getting a battery powered or plug into your car, whatever. Um, Aerator, airstone. I would put your big fish in there, or any fish that are not going to handle a lot of stress well. I don't. It's hard for me to like list all the fish, but most are common fish like live bears, and as long as they're not like cichlids or real specialized fish, certain loaches and that sort of thing, or caridina shrimp, for instance. They should be fine. What you do is you drain down the water to like 90% gone, and you can leave a little bit in there so the shrimp or anything else will be okay. You can do it that way, and then take your bigger fish and put them in a bucket, put a lid on the bucket, put a hole in it, or a lot of times they come with a lid with a hole. And you want to be careful when you lift it with the way the frame is on most tanks that are not rimless. You want to support it pretty well from all four corners if you can. A two-person team helps a lot more. Depending on how much substrate you have in it, you may have to take it out. Like if you have rocks and escape and like that, you really want that to be kind of like epoxied into place or set into grooves or something like that. If you're like, that's what we do sometimes when I've done aquascapes for events and things that need to be assembled quickly. And then the heaviest elements can kind of slide into their spot. So I would take out anything that's easy to remove, but all the plants, if they have roots and things, go ahead and leave that. But if you got a bunch of gravel that's thicker than an inch or two, anything more than 2 inches, I don't like that plus the water weight. I don't like really carrying that on bigger tanks, especially any tank that's like 20 long is as long as I'll go. But the longer the piece, the more stress is going to be in the center. So it's something to consider. The other thing you can do is slide it onto a board that's nice and sturdy, like not like some plywood, but like a sturdy piece of wood for like a tabletop, and then carry that with help. I have a friend who has a flat piece of wood. It's like oak, it's almost like a cutting board actually. It's probably like that thick. It's a little heavy in itself, but he cut just little, this shape handles onto either side, and he can slide 40-gallon tanks onto it and then carry them. No fear about it. But your tank, the glass shouldn't shatter if you're holding it by the frame, because your frame is already holding the exterior stress that's going out, uh, and any elements that are pushing on the glass itself, the bottom glass, are doing that already because the glass doesn't sit flush unless it is a rimless. Now, if you're dealing with a rimless, then they're actually stronger, and you just don't want things sliding around and banging. So, what I've done before is I've taken bags and also like packing stuff, put that in and around plants and things, but left the substrate, taken out any big rocks, but any stuff that had like a bunch of moss growing on it or whatever, I kind of left that in place. But that's probably the best bet is to do that. I would I would also say, let's see, oh, a 20-gallon, you'll be fine. Yeah, just lift it carefully from the base with help. I know, like I've moved things alone, but it's just so easy to bump something or be like, oh, I need help with the door, and it's heavy and awkward, and too much force gets pushed into one corner, whatever. So just get help, do it carefully. I would drain for a 20-gallon. I'd just drain. I mean, you could drain it 90%. It'll probably be about 60 pounds, 80 pounds, something like that. And then just carry it very carefully. And good luck with that. Also, I see Big Lee. Hello from Scotland. Hi, my family's from Scotland, Edinburgh, and southern Scotland, England. So my granddad was born a Scotsman. Uh, Says your mental health video really hit home with me. So screw YouTube. Thanks, buddy. I'm glad that it resonated with you. If you need anything, and I mean this to all of you, feel free to contact me. We all go through stuff. I understand. Life's not always easy. That's why we enjoy it. I like to say, though, if you're bored, you should be very happy because that's a luxury. That means there's no crazy problem going on. You have a roof over your head. You're not dying, probably. I don't know. You could be bored and dying, I suppose. But yeah, so think of things like that. Just try to change your mindset on that. Take in the beauty of the detail of how ornate and lovely nature is, and fish are, and their behavior. Tim Hopkins, I'm looking for solutions to eliminate ramshorn snails. There are fish options, but they usually need warmer water, and I keep my tanks. Assassin snails, uh, you know, how cool do you keep it? If it's above 68, you can get away with most tropical fish, other than like discus and angels and stuff that needs it really warm. Loaches are a great choice if you have some or can borrow some. Pea puffers will eat the crap out of ramshorn snails. They're inexpensive. You could probably give it back to the store or something. But they're like $3 or $4 at the store near me sometimes. So I've actually bought pea puffers just to eat all my ramshorn snails before in a tank. Um, but assassin snails over time, just two or three of them in a tank will drastically decrease your population. Also, I would recommend cutting back on feeding. Most oftentimes, when you have a snail explosion, you're feeding too much. A lot of people just feed too much in general. Fish are very feast famine, used to not eating all the time, and dry season, wet season, they're okay. So unless they're looking skinny or acting, twitchy, emaciated, and getting sick all the time, you can probably cut back a little bit on the feeding. That might help too. Let's see here. What's up, Pugimus Maximus? Hello. 68, 64. Yeah, that is pretty cold. I would try assassin snails. They should be okay. Let's see, what else? You know, you could try out goldfish. I don't know. They'll eat them sometimes. They'll eat everything. And then, yeah, that's a tough one. I'm sure any sort of cold water catfish would help eat them. And also like chub or char. I know they'll eat that, but I'm guessing your tank's not that big. Um, yeah, and yeah, Char just commented, my guppies actually pick off the smaller sized snails. Yeah, you'll see that. They'll eat the little teeny baby snails, definitely. Almost any fish will, because they're just so delicious. It's like escargot. Snail traps, that's also, yeah, that's another option. A lot of times I'll just go in there with my forceps and tweezers, and I'll just go in there and smush them and let the fish and other snails eat them. Sometimes that can cause an explosion of ram's horn snails or other snails and planaria because there's all this extra food and protein. But if you have like cribensis, oh man, they'll eat snails like it's going out of style. I don't know if that made sense. Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to hit the road, and by that I mean not, and like chill out, maybe take a nap, and then take care of the life I've neglected and the wife that I've not. I've been very active with her for our anniversary. Thanks for the well wishes. Thank you so much for the super chats and for the new Patreon members and new subscribers. I will talk to you soon. If you stuck around this long, hit that like button and think about subscribing. If you are here hearing this, you're not subscribed. I mean, what'd you hang out for an hour for? All right, guys. I will talk to you later. As always, take care of yourself. Take care of your critters. It'll all come around. And I'm here for you. Talk to you soon. Bye.